Hey guys, Sandy here, and today I am scrapbooking with my How to Kill a Kit with Style kit. I am also going to be scrapbooking something that happened on April 14th, 2019. I hit 1,600 subscribers. Now, I do love a good milestone number, so every time I catch a milestone number on my channel, I screenshot it and I scrapbook it. It's just what I do. I enjoy it, so I'm going to keep on doing it. Let's see what I can do. Now, I already had this piece of paper cut from a previous layout, so I decided to go ahead and use that. I thought this little bunting paper looked cute, but I didn't really want it as a full background. I wanted something around it, so I thought that this little gray polka dot with the rainbow stripe would be perfect. And it's not truly a rainbow stripe. It doesn't have the 7 colors of the rainbow, but it's close enough, so we're gonna call it a rainbow stripe. Now, I am kind of obsessed with my Love from Lizzie peel-offs these days. I originally was going to outline the entire page in this black, but ultimately I just decided to go ahead and do it down one side. Now, this is where I do something goofy. It is not straight, and I thought I would just be able to push it around with my fingernail. That wasn't great. And then when I pushed it down again, I messed it up again. So I am totally taking way too long with this bad boy to put it down straight. Usually I don't have this much trouble with them. However, these black ones are basically on top of a glitter paper, so I think that they don't lay down as smoothly as easily. So it's a little bit of a struggle to get it going correctly, but ultimately it happens, so yay! So I've got this black line basically down the center of the page, and I'm definitely going to have to bring in some black on this layout, otherwise it looks like I'm dividing the page for no apparent reason. I went ahead and pulled out my 6x6 papers. I also have some longer size papers in there, and this is actually something that came with the quick cuts. I call it a quick cuts. What was it? A silhouette when Quick Cuts actually owned it. Do you guys remember Quick Cuts? Anyway, way back long ago, Quick Cuts owned Silhouette, and that these papers came with it. They were like my free papers with it. They're adhesive backed, and I had the very small Silhouette, the one that would only cut 8.5 by 11. So there is that. I just flipped through my papers. I found some that I thought would work. I trimmed off the bottom of that blue paper because it looks like I had a little bit of a tear on it. And then I was just trying to figure out how to layer up these papers in the middle so that it was on top of my photo. The pink I really didn't like. The pink was okay, but the chevron pattern didn't show enough of it that you could truly see it was a chevron pattern, and it felt a little funky. So I mean, I really liked that yellow, but I was putting yellow on yellow, so we don't need to do that. I thought about this green. It is a green wood grain, and I was like, oh, no, that is taking it in a direction I don't want this layout to go in. So I decide you don't need another paper right there. Just layer your photo with the photo mat on top of this blue paper, and you're good. Like, you don't have to worry anymore. It's all good. Now, I thought about pulling off the adhesive back off that bad boy, but I did not, and then I just used my ATG instead. There is a very faint grid line on the bunting paper that I am using to line up my papers so that they are nice and straight. Otherwise, I would probably be using my grid mat underneath of my layout right here. So I just moved that trimmer off to the side. This is funny because this layout, I feel like all of a sudden everything was immediately around me, and I kind of converged on myself. It was weird. These are die cuts from Hey Hello. I have not used them yet, so I just pulled out the big pack, and that was because I thought the colors would be good. And I'm just checking out what they say. A lot of these are about friendship and happy birthday and that kind of thing. Now, I thought that this bright blue frame with You Got This was completely appropriate for this layout. Now, you might think it is a little bit full of myself, to scrapbook milestone layouts for YouTube, and that's okay if you think that. Like, if you want, I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me. But if you know me, you know I like milestone numbers. I also scrapbook when my car hits a milestone number on the odometer, even though I like to keep my car low miles. So, yeah. So I've got kind of like a, do I want it to not relationship with the odometer in my car. But anyway, I like milestone numbers. They make me happy. They just do. So that's what I'm doing. I have, for this one, this was 1,600 subscribers. This was real big deal for me. I remember when I hit 100 subscribers, I was like, yay, I'm a real YouTuber. And then I hit 500. I'm like, finally, I'm a real YouTuber. And I feel like every time I hit a milestone, I'm like, yes, I'm finally a real YouTuber. I am just over 2,400 right now, and it is in my mind where once I hit 2,500, I will be a real YouTuber. And I know that sounds weird, but for some reason, like every time I hit a milestone number, I say, yes, I'm a real YouTuber. And then when I hit getting ready to hit another bigger one, I'm like, yes, I will finally be a real YouTuber. So I don't know. It's like this infinite play loop I've got going on in my head, and that's okay, because I'm just having fun here and celebrating those numbers. So the more milestone numbers, the more we're going to celebrate. It makes me happy. Now this I screwed up. So my papers were not exactly lined up at the top, and I thought, I wasn't going to use my guillotine trimmer because everything was piled on top of it. My phone, the remote to the TV, a bunch of papers, all kinds of stuff. So I thought I would just pull out the little swoopy trimmer. I don't know what are these. I don't know what kind of trimmer do they have a technical name? Like, it's not a guillotine. Like, is it? So it's a swoopy. It's a swoopy trimmer. And my blade's a little bit dull, which kind of sucks. And it mutilated that top little bit up there. I have one blade left for that trimmer, and then after that, I'm just gonna have to get rid of it because I bought the trimmer, and then lovely Creative Memories decided that they would like to change up their trimmer, and they've got a new trimmer style. So yeah, that's real fun. Anyway, I am putting this black word over here that says celebrate. I also covered up creativity takes courage over top of that. You're perfect. It's like purr, like a kitty cat kind of purr. And I'm not a kitty cat person. I don't have cats. I'm allergic to them. So that probably isn't going to work for me. So I just thought covering up would do. Now this, I actually put a random embellishment on this page. Pretty proud of myself. I take this tree and I decide to do it. And I am pretty proud of myself. Because this is a random tree, and I'm thinking that I want something circular right there, like I can picture it in my mind's eye. I end up not putting anything right there, and basically it's because I didn't have anything in my immediate vicinity, and I really didn't want to go digging through my supplies. And I say digging not because I really have to dig through them. Like, everything's pretty organized, and I can just go look through things, and I have things set up in a great way to flip through and look. But yesterday I was feeling very slumpy creativity wise. I just wasn't feeling it, and I'm not exactly feeling this layout either. It's like I'm going through this thing right now where I like my layout, and then I don't like the next one I make, and then I like my layout, and then I don't want to say I don't like it, but it's not my favorite. And, I'm always like, it's done is better than not done. So I'm okay with it not being my favorite. But for a while, I was really enjoying the stuff that I put out. And if you're watching this and you see a previous video and you're like, actually, I didn't like that one either, that's okay, because I'm scrapbooking, but I'm not putting them up on the channel in the order that I'm scrapbooking. Does that make sense? So anyway, I like this layout. It's a little bit different for me, and I think that's what it is. Like, it's got the bright colors, so that's definitely me. But the random stuff is definitely not me. And yeah, so I'm kind of embracing the random a little bit, I guess, on this layout. And that's probably why it's not my absolute favorite. Because why I say you can do anything you want to in your scrapbooks. Like, if you want it to put flamingos on a layout about the North Pole, then like do you and have fun doing that. But this, I just wasn't. Oh, look, there's a flamingo. I don't know. I don't know. I liked it, and then the more I looked at it, the more I didn't like it. So maybe since it's in the pile of completed layouts, when I get to it at the end of the month to put it away, maybe I'll like it by then. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, done is better than not done. And I'm going with that philosophy. And it's not a terrible layout, so I'm good with it. I mean, if it was completely ugly, I would have either fixed it or set it aside and went back to it after scrapbooking something else. I don't think I've ever finished a layout and left it that I absolutely hated it. Now, I haven't gone back and torn apart layouts, but there are layouts that I'm working on that I'm like, no, this is not going to work, and have like redone some things. So yeah, I'm not redoing anything. If this turns out to be a layout that I'm not crazy about forever, it's going to live in the album. I'm not redoing it ever. I don't do that. I have some pretty horrendous random layouts in my albums that I think are horrendous, and I thought were horrendous when I finished them. But I'm not redoing them. I'm just not. I did it at the time. That was what the supplies I had. That was the thought process I had, and I'm just leaving it. I have too many other photos to scrapbook than to go back and then worry about layouts that I'm not completely pleased with. I'm just not going to do it. That isn't to say that if you hate something, you hate an album, and you feel like you need to redo it, then like, hey, if that's what makes you happy in your scrapbooking, if that is what keeps you documenting, if that is what keeps you playing with your paper and creating, then I am all for it. It's just for me, I just don't want to. Like, I just don't want to. It makes me ugh. Yeah, it makes me ugh if I think I've got to redo something like that. I just don't like it. So I am growing. No, I am growing. I am going through and popping down these little hearts just throughout the page. They are 3 different colors. The 2 that I put there on the bottom kind of look like similar colors, but they're not. I do have these little rainbow things from, I think they're from Dress My Craft. And I'm just pulling them out with a little, what is this thing called? I forget. With a jewel picker. And I'm just kind of placing them down and kind of figuring out where I wanted them to be. So I am going to have to add adhesive, and I do use my Nouveau Deluxe adhesive, which is the absolute best liquid adhesive in the world. It's just best. It's clear drying, it is matte drying, and it comes in a pretty bottle. So that's all I'm worried about. I do just go ahead and dot that down. Now, this is interesting. I am a right-handed person, but I glue with my left hand when I'm putting down sequins or beads or anything like that. And it's weird to me because I would think that I would want to glue with my right hand because I have more control with my right hand, but I just don't. I glue with the left. So there is that. So now that I'm getting all that little, all those little bits and stuff glued down, I am coming to the end of this layout, and I'm just trying to figure out if there's anything else I want to add. I thought about these cameras, and when I first started this layout, these cameras were in the back of my head because, you know, it's YouTube, so I thought cameras would go, but I really didn't have a place anymore to put them. What I do find are a couple of these little chipboard word phrases that I think will work on the layout. And these chipboard word phrases are a little thick, so I go ahead and peel off some of the chipboard, and then I just use my glue to adhere them down to the layout. And that's the great thing about chipboard, is if you get chipboard that is just a little too thick, you can peel some of the layers off and it's not going to be that thick. Now, I only did 2 little white phrases, and I think that they really look good against the backgrounds that they're on. So the little white chipboard phrases are on top of the white background and the gray background, and then my black Tim Holtz phrases are on top of color things. So I think it turns out okay. I'm just trimming up that little bit of a mess that I made up there when I used the doll trimmer, swooshy trimmer thing. And then I have a tag, and I gotta fill the tag hole. So I grab some white embroidery floss, and that just sits right there on my desk, and I just tie a little bow. I trim off the bow ends. I'm going to dot a little bit of the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive into the tag hole and press down the bow. And then that is going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me ramble on and talk about all kinds of stuff. I am doing a video a day. It is June something. What is today's date? Well, it will be June 7th when this goes up. So it's been a wild ride, guys, and I'm loving it. So go ahead, subscribe, ring the bell, and I'd love you to join me as I go along for this year-long video a day journey. I will see you guys again real soon for another video.